The word seven is siphon, which is siphon. Completion is what they call the Passover. Remember that Christ talked about a Passover, crossover. Seven is completion. And the great Passover is when your energy is siphoned from the lower realm to the higher realm. And the number seven is what makes that possible. What is a step, an object that's used to help us ascend? When you look up the word seven in etymology, one of the ways we used to pronounce and spell seven was sapta. You know why that is important? Because the word sapta is also the word stapa, which is step. That evolves to the modern word step, which is a seven. A step is a seven. Look up the etymology of seven. You can see where the word step was born from stapa. Septa is where you get September. September is the seventh month. So sapta becomes septos as well, which is the root word of scepter, which is the central nervous system, the caduceus staff, Jacob's ladder, the Jedi pillar is the sapta or the scepter. Remember, we are hermit crabs. We live in shells. Take the S off shell, you get hell. Each shell we break, there's another bigger one beyond it. Remember, a hermit crab, when it outgrow one shell, it get a bigger one with some more room in it for me to let me grow. And your chakra layers are just that. You see these layers around you? When you pass through one layer, there's automatically another bigger layer around you for you to break through all of them. Your next shell is already waiting on you. It's like an onion type deal. And that's because each chakra has a certain amount of energy it emits. Each chakra is giving off its own layer around you. And what's bursting out of them is their own color of light. So they're all covering you in Saturn's deception. They're making another you out of their own color of light. There's a purple you, yellow you, green you, because each of these simulations made out of its own different color frequency of light. So the solar system is really the color system, because the C is a S, solar is color system. The root chakra ain't that powerful. So it ain't creating a big explosion around itself. When you look around the body, the biggest circles come from the strongest chakras, because each circle is like a mushroom cloud growing around an explosion. Each chakra is like an explosion, a break in the ether. Boom! And from that, energy is being released. And that's why each chakra got its own color that it's creating a layer with. You're a hose pipe with 7 holes in it. And you know what it's like trying to use a hose pipe that's full of holes. The water never come out where it's supposed to come out. You feel me? God can't make it back to heaven because all of his energy is coming out these chakras. The crown chakra is the way out. It's the highest one, and it don't exist in the body. If we trying to make it out the body, you got to go through the crown. And that's why the crown chakra, it don't exist in the body. Look at it. It's outside the body. You see? The crown chakra is the outermost auric layer. And that's the layer that's interacting with the real world. If you not this outermost version of yourself, you're still inside of your own self. You're in a dream and what? It's like, if I walk up to you in a dream, where are you? You're in your body. So this chakra layer system is showing you all the yous that sleep and how you're in the one that's at the bottom. And when you wake up from this one, then you come into this dream. Then you leave this dream, go to that dream. And then at this last layer, you stop dreaming. You enter the real world. 7 is completion. That 7th layer, when you break through that, ain't nothing else to break through. This you on this outer layer, it's literally in the real world, but it's sleep because its energy has been reflected inward to this inner you right here. And hell, look at this like a mummy in a tomb. This right here shows you what this is. Look at it. You're dead. We're dead already. Look, the womb was the tomb. The moment you went in the womb, you went in the tomb. They telling you everything in reverse. We ain't living waiting to die. We dead waiting to live, like a seed becoming a tree. The seed starts its journey off dead, and then it lives last, y'all. The universe saved the best for last. So what you experience is death first. Life comes later. You haven't experienced life yet. This is death, y'all. That's why people be like, man, I'm scared to die. You scared to live. You like a fucking caterpillar that went inside of its own cocoon and got scared to come out. That's ignorance. Ain't no caterpillar scared to bust out of its own cocoon. It's going to come out a butterfly ready to really live now. Because when it was a caterpillar, that is not the life of a butterfly. That's the death of a butterfly. A caterpillar is literally a butterfly that's ignorant to what it is. And when the caterpillar wakes up, it no longer want to be a caterpillar no more. It basically commits suicide in a cocoon and kills itself as a caterpillar and resurrect as a butterfly, because when you know better, you do better. And the caterpillar says, I can no longer keep living beneath my potential. If my greater version is beyond death, if this greatest potential that I know is within me is on the other side of a cocoon, then spend my shit right now. It's around you in nature that's literally leaving this through transformation. It's in the same world with us, but it's no longer a caterpillar, it's a butterfly. It's experiencing this same space and time differently. And that's what your macro body is going to do. You ain't leaving this earth, you leaving your body. And you're going to leave 7 different bodies. And you're going to wake up in this same place, a different you with all power and glory. Because Eden ain't nothing but a reflection of the earth. It's the same place. It's just distorted through layers. You're in a tomb. This is what the Taurus field around you is. It's your fucking casket. We're dead already, man. Everything they tell you here is in reverse. We know that the word sever, it's the word separ, which is the root word of separate, because the V and P are interchangeable. Remember that the word 7 is the word separate or sever. What happens at the 7th day of every week? The week is broken, is separated, is broken, and now another week begins. And at the 7th day of that week, we break it again. So 7 means breaking. Each step is a break or a 7. The word 7 is also the word severn. Severn. When you say severn, you can rearrange that to say nervurns or nervins and nirvana. Remember, we dealing with the central nervous system. We just read that the word sever 7 comes from the word servon, severin, and all those derivations. But watch this. When you say nerves, you get another one of them derivations of 7, servon, severin, which become several. Because if you keep splitting, you create several of them. The word several is dealing with duality or multiplicity. For you to say there are several parallel realities, you got to say 7. Because they only exist by breaking. Now, what happens when you break something? You create the number 7 again. What happens if you take a stick and break it? What did you just make? The number 7. To sever, to break something. You will never look at a 7 the same after this stream. You will see a siphon. You will see a divine act of severing, of creating duality. It's not just a number, it's a step. It's a break, a checkpoint in your spiritual progression, because it's recorded in breaks, checkpoint systems, chapters. The number associated with the original form of Jesus is 7, the number of God. But what was the name of God? Serapis. Now you can see how you get the name Serapis from 7. because this is the God that separates everything and creates duality. Serapis is a serpent. The name Serapis comes from the word serpent, serpent. The word serpent and the word seven are the same thing. You can't make a serpent without sevens. This the Kukulkan pyramid. Seppa becomes the word zipper. A zipper is a staircase. It's a DNA strand. The way things look have something to do with the way that the words we call them. A person may say, I don't know why it's called a zipper. I do. We don't name it something for no reason. When you break down why it's named what it is in etymology, there's a reason for it. The zipper is the same thing this is. It's keeping some held together. The left and the right, the higher self and the lower self. This the connection point to it all. It's like stitching something together. That's DNA. You got two serpents like this because one of them serpents is traveling up and one of them serpents is going down. You know what the Hermetic people teach? At the same time that God is falling down to the earth, the devil is rising up to it. Earth is the lowest point of heaven, but the highest point of hell. The bad people that you see in this world, guess what? They the good ones. They babies just like we babies. It's like our ancestors' children are fighting the enemy's children. So we equal. I'm telling you that the devils in this world, as barbaric as they are, they're more compassionate than any of the devils you ever want to see in these lower realms. Gets very barbaric if your soul descend to these lower realms. If you think this earth messed up, keep descending down into these parallel realities beneath the earth. Dante spoke about it, the Inferno. It ain't burning with fire. It's like places where we're literally have evolved into transhumans. We become so dense that we're literally robots with exoskeletons. We become so immersed into matter, we don't resemble humans no more. We're like cyborgs and shit. We're getting heavier and heavier in matter. Think about this, right? Instead of a hermit crab coming out of the shell that it's in and getting a new shell, what the people in power teach y'all to do is just keep stacking shells on top of each other. That ain't gonna do nothing but make the crab get heavier. Now he got 10 shells on him. But that ain't what Hermeticism was about. It was about shedding shells. The Hermetics taught less is more in transformation. But check this out. If you want to give off the appearance of progression, you can do it by, let's talk hermit crabs again, because this is a good analogy. When a hermit crab grows, when it outgrows its shell, it finds a new shell. But the act of the hermit crab finding a new shell is like a human picking a new house. We get picky with it. The hermit crab, when he ain't in a shell, he's vulnerable. But he will be so bougie and picky, he's risking his damn life to find the perfect, he want to be in a luxury mansion, right? It ain't just that the hermit crab looking for a beautiful shell. The hermit crab got a social system where it's letting other hermit crabs know, I'm growing, I'm eating good. If you're eating, that means you're a good hunter. You know how to attract wealth. So the hermit crab is saying, look, it ain't that I'm stunned with my new shell. I'm showing y'all I've grown. I've outgrown my old self. In the hermit crab social system, the hermit crabs with the big, beautiful shells are respected, not because they got big, beautiful shells, but because they've shown growth. And that's respected because if you've grown, that means you're smart, because you gotta be smart to hunt and catch food. It shows wisdom of survival. That's what I'm showing y'all. But check this out, right? Imagine you got a hermit crab. They haven't grown. They still in a little bitty shell. They ain't outgrown that little shell because they dumb and they ain't got no wisdom, right? Instead of this little bitty hermit crab outgrowing its shell by getting knowledge, guess what the little hermit crab do? It puts a bigger shell on top of its little shell. This little hermit crab trying to fake and let the other hermit crabs believe that it's smart and it grew, but it didn't. It started to stack up shells on top of shells, and now it can barely move because it's faking like it's a god. It's faking like a hermit crab that have outgrown its shell. But literally, if you take them shells off, you will see it's just stacking shells, which is why even though it looked good, it haven't moved nowhere. It ain't moved nowhere. It looked good and it can't move. It weighed itself down. That's what the physical world is. When I say that the hermit crab stacked a lot of shells on itself, that's what we look like in all of these chakra layers. We're like these hermit crabs. If you're stubborn and you don't want to grow, you just keep stacking layers on yourself to fake like you growing. And you look like Saturn, which is repetition and ignorance. The real hermit crabs that outgrew their shell and they got the big, beautiful shells, they can move comfortably in them too, because they've grown to be able to fit them shells. And when you fake this shit, you only put on weight. What I'm explaining to y'all is transhumanism. Instead of humans outgrowing this damn simulation and evolving into gods, which we are, we faking this shit with cyborgs and technology and transhumanism. Everything that humans trying to achieve with transhumanism, your soul can already do it. But instead of us freeing our souls from the body, we keep becoming cyborgs and putting on more layers. The next layer is what they call in transhumanism. We're falling more and more into matter. We put this body on. Now we about to put the robot body on. Then after a couple thousands of years with that, they going to put another layer on your transhuman body. Because once you are transhuman for hundreds of thousands of years, it becomes normal to move around with all this weight like this. You say, well, look, we can make shit better by making a new body. And we keep trying to make shit better by making a new body and a new body, but it's weighing us down into matter, into more layers. And the ancestors said, you can't make this shit better because the best there is already in you, buried behind your dumb layers. See, a caterpillar can put on a butterfly costume, but it ain't gonna leave the ground. It ain't going nowhere. We ain't practicing Hermeticism. We doing the opposite. Instead of us outgrowing our shell and earning a new shell, we ain't growing. We know what the spiritual realm is. We look at the ancestors. Instead of us going through the work, we cheat with technology, but the ancients ain't have technology. They had to go in the dark and meet the self. Look at the word Enoch, right? Remember what I told y'all earlier about Hanukkah and Naga? The Nukkah in Hanukkah is the word Naga, and the Nukkah in Hanukkah is the word Enoch. I keep telling y'all, Enoch is the serpent. All of these deities are the serpent. The first deity was the serpent. Then they start making all these different versions. Enoch is one. He's Noah. Enoch and Noah is the same thing. You pull up images of Enoch, you will see him inside of an ark. Why did they remove the book of Enoch? Because it's flat earth base. Look at Enoch. He's leaving the arch. This is Christian artwork. Why did they give you the story of Noah? Because they wanted to replace the book of Enoch. The only reason the story of Noah is popular is because when they removed the book of Enoch, the story of Enoch was translated to a literal story of a dude in an ark trying to survive a flood. But the spiritual meaning of that story is your soul inside your body in the simulation, which is submerged in the primordial waters. And this is the real Atlantis knowledge. We all are Atlanteans, but they got everyone looking for Atlantis, right? What else do they got everyone looking for? Noah's Ark. Why is everyone looking for the Ark and Atlantis? Because the Catholic Church taught us to take this stuff literally. If you want to find the Ark, if you want to find Atlantis, it's inside of you. People looking for a sunken city called Atlantis, but the kingdom of heaven is within. People looking for Noah's Ark, guess what? It's your skull, man, with your soul in it. They turned this spiritual stuff to literal stuff, and now people looking for the literal stuff instead of looking within. You're being misdirected. Don't you know when you say Hanukkah, you're saying Enoch? Did you know that? What does Hanukkah got to do with Jesus and resurrection? Hanukkah is the other Jesus, Enoch, and his resurrection. Everybody worshiping the same shit. You just got your own different literal deity where you think is a dude, but Enoch is Jesus going to heaven. But just like we celebrate Easter, which is resurrection, some people celebrate, they don't got Jesus, they got Enoch. The people that celebrates Hanukkah, they basically can trace their shit back to the Enoch interpretations. Look at here. But it's all resurrection. Enoch and Jesus is all the same person. A Naga, a nigga, right there. They remove Enoch because really, when you keep tracing these stories back, you end up with the book of niggers for real. The serpent gods of Hinduism. I keep telling people, us indigenous people were Buddhists and we called ourselves gods, but we didn't use the word God. The word equivalent for God was Naga. When you say Naga, you're saying Enoch. You're saying Naki. This is the name Enoch, but it become Noach, Noah, and all that. And I'm about to show you that. The word Nuka, it become Nuki. Nookie, like a female vagina nookie. But that's how you get the knock and Enoch. When people say, well, you reaching with the nookie and the knock. No, I'm not, because Enoch represents a sacred portal, which is a womb. The vortex is a nookie, like a vagina. And they look the same. These words, we don't just say shit. But watch this though. If you still think I'm reaching, this word nookie and noki, you got the etymology right there. I highlight this right here. Look, this word hanak. Look at there, hanak. Now, guess what? What else is a womb? The Ankh. When you say Hanukkah, the word Hanukkah is another form of the Ankh, but the nookie is dealing with the sacred portal. When you see Enoch going through that little portal, it's a vortex we create when we release our energy. Your light is piercing through the water. And at the same time that's happening in a higher realm, your father's phallus is piercing through the womb of your mama. All these actions are tied together. Certain actions in certain universe are connected to actions outside of that universe. And when that happens, you transition between the two. Through that act, you can be in a plane crash in your dream and the plane fall into the water in the ocean. And the moment your plane hit the ocean water, your little brother just threw a bucket of water on you when you were asleep. And them two actions are connected. The moment the plane in the dream hit the ocean, the splash of water in this world hit your body. And you may wake up and you may think nothing of it, but you just died in another universe. You literally just died in a plane crash and don't even know you just died. Because that action was connected to the water splash in this world. And just like you falling asleep, entering a dream, you don't even know you just fell asleep. Whatever you was doing in that world when you fell asleep, that's the action that's tied to the act of you falling asleep here. Just like how when you fell asleep in the plane, which is death, the action that was connected to that was your little brother splashing water on you. And that's how the universe is. It's just one big reality. It ain't like, well, I'm leaving one world and going to another world. You're creating a world out of all these worlds. Your reality ain't bound to any of these worlds because your reality transcends all of these worlds as a God. Let that sink in. That's like me reading 100 books, but I'm writing one book by combining all 100 of them. My one book ain't limited to neither one of them 100 books because it's a combination of all of them. It's one reality made from the many. And this is what the astral reality is. This is what the God body experiences. But remember that the word Hanak is how we get the word Unk. And I'm showing you how it relates to the woman's body on a macro level, because the sacred portal within man is also the same thing in between your mama's legs. Because when your soul enters through this stargate, it comes out your mama's womb. What's happened on a spiritual level, your soul is breaking through the water. So what do they say about your mama? Her waters broke. Well, who the hell broke them? The waters break with the light of conception following it. You got the waters breaking at the same time, the light of conception. If your soul is light, which is conception before the body, the soul is landing into the primordial ocean and it ain't got a body, it's just light. And when the soul arrives, they call it conception. You born after that. The body is built around the soul. That's when they cover your light with the body. That happens in the womb of your mama. We can't make it back through heaven without being born through our mama and daddy through all these parallel realities. It ain't like since our parents was born in sin, we born in sin. No, everyone is a seed and you got to become your own tree. Well, your parents sinned, so now you got to be born in sin. Nope. My parents, they fell from the tree just like I did because we're seeds and we got to go in the ground and do our initiation. Every tree you see in the jungle was a seed that had to be initiated in darkness. Everybody want to give you shit to make you scared. Aliens and reptilians and little bullshit and little mysticism. That ain't the vibe that's going to wake you up. That's going to keep you recycling. I'm really giving you the secret that these folks hiding from you, the Boule, the Masons, everybody else playing like they got the knowledge, but they giving you mysticism. You do the etymology of Noah, you get Enoch or Noach, which is Enoch. Remember what we just did? That's why I do that with y'all. This is how you get the name Noah from Naki, Noka. But Naki is Naga. One of y'all favorite shoe companies is Nike, for sure. And then the name Nike becomes Enki when you rearrange it. You get Enki, which is another god that's breaking through the veil. Enki ain't nothing but Enoch. You see Enoch coming up out the earth, out the little portal, out the dome. Right here, Noah coming out his ark. Nike is Enki, the same thing. The name Enki is the word Ankh. And if you look at Enki, what does he shape like? The Ankh is the symbol of life, right? Why? Because Enki is becoming alive now because he's been dead. They taught y'all wrong. They trying to rewrite everything. The Ankh is the symbol of life. And what is Enki doing? He resurrecting. You're not alive right now, bro. You're dead. You're looking at a human that just died on earth and their soul is leaving out the earth realm through a portal. If this is the symbol of life, why did they turn this into the symbol of death with Jesus? Because they wanted to invert the truth, y'all. They want you to think you're alive right now and you're waiting to die and that you got to pray to Jesus so Jesus can give you life, which is immortality. They telling you Jesus gonna help you escape the physical realm through belief in their barbaric system and blood sacrifice. Enki was Jesus before Jesus. Look at his arms. And instead of them putting a halo on Jesus' head, well, Enki got the halo around his waist. However, it's just you leaving a portal. It don't matter where I put the portal at because your head got to come out, your legs got to come out. It's the MGM lion. Santa Claus got a big belt on. Look at Enki. The big belt. Why does Santa Claus got a big black belt on? because it's talking about you busting up out of a black hole. Look at Enki. Enki busting out of a black hole. Now, what do they call a photo that's just your chest and above? They call it a bust. Why do they call a photo that's the waist and above a bust? Because it goes all the way back to here, folks. Look at Enki. It goes all the way back here, busting out. That's why it's called a bust. This deity is Sokar, S-E-K-E-R, which is just the word seeker, one who seeks the truth. And this is another form of Sokar or seeker in Sumerian. When you bring up Hermeticism, guess what they say? But Sanchez, what about the god Thoth? The god Thoth is the god Sokar. Look here. Here goes Sokar right here. Look at him, the bird deity. This is the Egyptian god Sokar. But again, y'all call it Thoth today. And Thoth got 2 tablets in his hand, just like Moses. But the 2 tablets is the 2 pillars of Samson. People will say Thoth and the emerald tablets, like Billy Carson, right? They want to point everybody to Thoth because guess what, guys? That's the literal interpretation of Sokar. They want to point everybody to the literal interpretation to hide the spiritual interpretation. That's called inversion. So people go looking up Thoth. Motherfuckers literally looking for the emerald tablets. The emerald tablets still on the earth. And if we find the emerald tablets, we can make it out of the earth. The emerald tablets is the left and right, the 2 hemispheres of the brain. Why did Moses split the sea? Moses is Samson. You take the name Samson. From that, all you do is this. You take the N off, and guess what you get? Moses. Moses from Samson.